Hello. Okay, voice is okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So we will. I will be discussing with you regarding the strategies for preparation, how to choose and why to choose civil services as an option, and also if some of you have a doubt regarding which optional you want to choose or you have not decided yet that which optional you need. Though I am a faculty of agriculture, but I have been a student of civil services, so I can guide you well in that domain also. So yes, ma'am, you wanted to ask something? Yeah. Yeah, you can be clear and you can ask anything if you want to ask. Up. Nothing as such. Okay. So if you see agriculture, it has been one of the highest scoring subjects of recent years in OPSC examinations as well as in civil services examinations. Plus, if you see the recent prelims paper which was held on 10th of October, there were 7 to 8 questions which can be solved with the knowledge of agriculture. So those were a direct advantage to the people, those who are from agriculture background or those who are having agriculture as an optional. So some of the questions which I faintly remember, one of the question was like, bowl guard technology is related to what? They simply asked, what do you mean by, what is the importance of bowl guard technology? So if you know bowl guard, what is bowl guard? Bowl guard is basically they have been designed and developed for controlling bollworms, and which is, bollworms is a very serious pest of cotton. So had you known the bollworm, you would have known bowl guard. So you could have easily solved that question, very easily you could have solved that question. Right. So there were many questions like that. They had asked one question on CGIAR, that is Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research. So if you know CGIAR during your UG program or during the in between reading through the newspapers, you can know they have many research institutes located throughout the world. Like there is a livestock research institute in Kenya. In India, we have one research institute, and that is the premier research institute for semi-arid tropics. They had asked that semi-arid tropic research center name is ICRISAT, International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics, which is located in Hyderabad. So you just needed to know that information कि ICRISAT is a CGIAR institute which is located in Hyderabad, and you could have easily eliminated and you could have solved that question. Considering the amount of competition which has crept into the civil services because of the lot of number of students are preparing, and with the accessibility to technology and other things, so you will find that this was an easy question. But many of the people, those who don't have agriculture as a subject or as an option, they would have found it very difficult. It was out of the blue, CGIAR. So I would like to say that agriculture has been in demand, will be in demand, and will be always in demand, because like earlier Jawaharlal Nehru had said, our first Prime Minister, everything can wait but not agriculture. So agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, it is backbone of our Indian economy. So agriculture will have demand forever and for always. So beginning it, let me introduce myself. I am Nitesh Kumar Misra, completed BSc Agriculture from TNAU Coimbatore. You might be knowing, it's a very reputed institute. And after that, I went on to pursue agribusiness management from Hyderabad, MANAGE, that is National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management. It's also a premier business school of the country under Ministry of Agriculture. Then after, I am working with a PSU under Ministry of Fertilizers. And I have been preparing for civil services. Fortunately, I have appeared for interview in civil services 2 times, once for forest services. I had cleared OPSC Odisha Municipal Services examination with 11th rank, and after that I have thought to mentor and guide my young students, my friends, because during my agriculture days I found that nobody was interested in civil services, even though there were some few seniors, but we could not contact them or we could not get their pulse of wisdom. So it's my zeal and enthusiasm to guide you all people to take agriculture as an option, and agriculture will be helpful for other things also. But first things first, let me introduce or let me go through ki why to choose agriculture optional for UPSC or OPSC examinations. See, agriculture optional is useful at all the stages of UPSC examinations, as you would have seen, prelims, mains and personality test. How come prelims? You can see in prelims, like I was discussing to you some time back, in this year prelims itself you can find a question that BOLGARD technology related to what? What I can say, a student who would not have been so attentive in classes in agriculture also will attempt that question. He will find it to be the most simplest question in the paper, because BOLGARD, bollworm, BOLGARD, protect against bollworm, that is BOLGARD. ICRISAT question, that is CGIAR question. And similarly there were some more questions. Which is the least water efficient crop? Though UPSC had asked that question in a twisted manner, people would have read it, which is the most water efficient crop, but they had asked it least water efficient. So if you see in that terms, two crops come to the fore. One is rice, another one is sugarcane. These two crops are least water efficient. They are called as water guzzlers. They drink water like anything. They extract a lot of groundwater. Okay? So in that terms, if you see, that was an easy question. In this paper, when you had to search for a lot of things, where there were questions linking from World Test Championship and from Olympics to a wide range of subjects from until environment and geography, these were easy bits. These were like low hanging fruits. You can just simply pick them up, secure 6 marks, 8 marks. In this exam, every single marks count. Not even single, 0.1, 0.01, 0.02 marks can make a difference for your entry into mains, or you have to wait for one more year. So in my opinion, prelims, agriculture, definitely 7 to 8 questions every year, and out of 100, 7 to 8 questions, and that too easy 8 questions, will definitely give you a boost to take forward your preparation. Next, mains. So if you see in mains, hope you all would be aware of the pattern of the mains. There are 4 GS papers, 1 optional paper and 2 language papers, right? So in mains, in general studies paper 1, where you have geography and history, there also you have a lot of role of agriculture to play, because geography is, most of the syllabus of geography overlaps with agriculture, being soil, crops, climatology, all those things are related to agriculture also. So many years you will find the questions like, why jute industry developed in West Bengal region? They will ask you a question like, why the tea industry developed in northeastern part of the country? Why rubber industry is famous in Malaysian region? Why palm oil is famous in Indonesian and Southeast Asian regions? So all this agriculture has got a close link, or what, it is entirely dependent on geography. So here it will help you, plus entirely GS paper 3, you will find everywhere agriculture will appear for you. Directly they have mentioned irrigation, types of irrigation, modern information communication tools and technologies for extension, like that they have mentioned. But above that they ask questions like questions on food processing, on irrigation. In science and technology at times they ask questions from biotechnology, which is somehow related to agriculture, right? So in mains also you will find there is a lot of utility for your agriculture paper. Third thing, coming to the most important part, once you have cleared the 2 hurdles, the most important hurdle, that is personality test, that is interview, right? In interview, it is bound to the interviewer is bound to ask you questions related to agriculture, even though you might be from any background. You might be from mechanical, you might be from electrical, you might be from arts graduate, but you take food 3 times a day, so you have to know about farmers, you have to know about agriculture, right? There will be questions like, why there is an agrarian crisis in the country, or why there were recurring droughts during the British period, or why we have been successful as a country, like Government of India and PM's vision is to doubling farmers' income by 2022. So what if you are appointed as a undersecretary or a deputy director in the agriculture department, what suggestions will you give? So this type of questions related to agriculture are bound to come. In my personality test, when I attended in 2018 and 19 and in OPSC also, they bombarded me with questions from agriculture. They asked me questions like, what is the, for example, if you belong to Odisha or West Bengal or Jharkhand, anywhere, they will ask you question, what is the cropping pattern of your state? You have to know. You cannot deny that I am a arts graduate or I am an electrical engineer, so I need not know, because our bureaucracy is a generalist bureaucracy where you have to know everything. And nowadays UPSC has proved that anything under the sun you have to know it, right? So agriculture will help you there also. Plus one of the most important thing why I thought of coming to Bhubaneswar and teaching you people and guiding you, mentoring you. Teaching would not be the right word, rather it would be mentoring and guiding. Because I thought in agriculture there is no dearth of talent pool. Talent pool is there. Our agri graduates are little bit innovative. They fear. They have got a fear. Because many of the agriculture graduates, whoever of you are sitting here, medical would have been your first choice. Agriculture would have been your second choice. It becomes, it's a definite thing. Everyone knows agriculture is your second choice. But you cannot repent throughout your life that agriculture was my second choice or I got my second choice. Whatever life has given you, make it. If life throws banana, then make it a milkshake. That's what. So if you have got agriculture, then utilize this opportunity. The success rate of agriculture optional is far, far higher than medical or engineering or any other optional in the country. I will update you the data once the data of this year is released by UPSC. So many of you might not be aware. You can go to the UPSC and you can download their annual report, and there you can see how many candidates appeared for which optional, how many candidates from optional were selected for mains, they were selected for interview, and how many of the students who opted for this interview, they got recommended finally. So you will find astonishingly good number of people are recommended every year. So this was the first step, prelims, mains, personality test. Next, like what I was saying you, nowadays questions have increased in the recent year from agricultural areas. Like I said you, this was updated a few days back. I need to update it again. Water conservation related issues, like they asked Aliyar, a simple question they asked. Aliyar and 3-4 names they had given. I don't remember the name exactly. One of the correct answer was Aliyar. If somebody is from agriculture area, he will know Aliyar is a dam. They had asked a question, ki what do you mean by these terms, Aliyar, this, for example, Aliyar, and then Govindaraj Sagar and Hirakud. What are these? Hirakud was not there in the option. What are these? So if you know Aliyar, simply, this is a dam, 2 marks. So you need not, you don't even need to think second time. Then they had asked a question like soil health card. What is the use of soil health card? See, agriculture is such an easy and comprehensible subject. What does it mean, soil health card? Just simply, like when you go for a full body checkup, they will give you your BP is this, your sugar is this, your fat is this, your lipid is this they will give. Same way in soil health card you will find. So they had asked a question, because Government of India in 2015 and 16 were focusing highly on soil health cards. So they had asked a question those days. Then they had asked about neem coated urea. What is a urea? Everybody knows urea is applied for nitrogenous fertilizer. When Prime Minister, Mr. Modi came to the power, his dream of making the country that we should stop the smuggling of urea, because urea is such a commodity. You would be astonished to know government pays almost 18,000 rupees per ton as subsidy. 18,000 rupees. The actual price of urea comes to around 23,000 rupees per ton, but farmer buys it at only 5,300 rupees. So imagine the level of subsidy going on into that. 18,000 rupees for 1 ton of fertilizer, urea. So government wanted to discourage that, because that was a loss, that was a huge loss of money for the exchequer. So what the idea was thought of, we will coat it with neem. So once we coat it with neem, it cannot be diverted for any other industrial use. It has to be used in the agricultural fields only, right? So that was highly marketed and promoted by Government of India. UPSC took from that and simply put it, what is the use of neem coated urea? Simple, 2 marks, as simple as it is. So even though you would have studied in current affairs, but if you were a student of agriculture or you have been well versed with it, you could have solved it very easily. Once they had asked a question on MSP. MSP, the great hullabaloo is going on over MSP since last 1 year. Everybody, Mr. Tikait and all those leaders, farm unions and all have been on arms against the government, that MSP should be protected, it should be legally guaranteed and this and that. So prior to that, 1 year before to that also MSP was always in news, because MSP has always been hotcakes for political campaigning. During election time, MSP becomes a big issue. So what happened during that time? UPSC asked simply, they put the name of 7 crops: rice, wheat, barley, maize, jowar, turmeric, tea, coffee. 7 options. Which of MSP is declared for which of the crops? Simple. So you will again think that MSP is declared for 23, 24 crops. So how should I remember all those things? No need. Again the strategy you have to use. Why the government should declare a MSP on coffee? Coffee was included in that. Why should a government declare a MSP on coffee or tea? Simply you had to choose those options where there were coffees and tea. Just remove it. You could have arrived to the answers very clearly, right? Some years they have asked question on PDS. PDS has been a topic for GS2 also, because in policy also public distribution system, TPDS, PDS, they are all there. One more year they asked a very simple question: export statistics of crops. 1 year they asked, which country is the largest exporter of rice? Many of the people, some though, like nowadays you would have found many people are highly nationalistic, are everything India, 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 like that people are also there. So somebody would have clicked by fluke ki India is the largest exporter, and fortunately it became correct. Because that year only India had overtaken some Southeast Asian country. If I am not wrong, it was Vietnam or Philippines. We had overtaken them to become the largest exporter of rice. China is also one of the major producers, but China was not the largest exporter of rice. Simple question, 2 marks, finished. You can get a easy 2 marks. So, like biotechnology, which is an area of hitherto, it is considered an area of science. But if you see the questions of recent years, all those questions have been from agriculture related area only. 1 year they asked DMH11. Every one of you would have heard Dhara Mustard Hybrid 11, which is a hybrid of mustard crop. What happens in mustard? We did not have any hybrid varieties. Okay. So what they did, they had made it a transgenic mustard, which has got gene from Barnes-Barster system. That is a very difficult system. I will explain you in classes. During the course of our lecture, we will learn about the Barnes-Barster system. So it was developed. Professor Pental, Deepak Pental, the ex-vice chancellor of Delhi University, he was involved in that committee. Everything went well. At the end, we could not get an approval from GESE. So you might be knowing GESE, Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. Once any of the genetic engineering crops or animals have been developed, crops have been developed, it has to be approved by GESE. GESE did not give approval, but it was in the news for a long time. UPSC simply plug that question and simply they put it. They did not ask you the concept, they did not ask you the funda, what is DMH, how it is developed. They simply asked DMH, that mustard of the hybrid of mustard has been developed by which university? I cannot find a simpler question than this in UPSC. They simply asked that this DMH hybrid mustard has been developed from which university or which research institute. First option was there, like IARI. So every person by fluke they will click IARI because it's the premier agriculture research institute in the country. Second, they had put something like Ludhiana, PAU, Punjab Agriculture University, Ludhiana. Third, they had put something. Fourth, they had put none. Had anyone ever known that Deepak Pental sir, Professor Deepak Pental, who was from Delhi University, he was the vice chancellor. So it was developed by Delhi University. So it was an easy question, right? Then you will find questions from CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR-Cas9 is a genome editing tool. Basically, it's a genome editing tool. It is used to cut the genomes and to join them and to make a new, basically to form a transgenic, which I was talking to you some time back. Transgenic. CRISPR-Cas9 is a tool to, it's a molecular scissor to cut and join and to form a new genetically modified organism. So if you see in biotechnology in the recent years, almost all the questions, at least 50% of the questions have been from agriculture related areas. Okay. Then I was taking to you about geography, factors affecting location of industries, which I said you, why tea industry is located in Japan, or why jute industry grew up in West Bengal, why cotton industry grew up in Egypt region, like that questions. Like in GS3, they have written major cropping pattern in various parts of the country, different types of irrigation and irrigation system, transport and marketing of agricultural produce and issues and related and constant. This is the actual syllabus which I have copied from the UPSC website and I have put it for your benefit. The next part is e-technology in the aid of farmers. What are the modern technologies, ICT, which are coming to the aid of farmers? Second is issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies. You can see, and minimum support price. Questions have been asked. So people think that UPSC questions are coming out from somewhere. No, if you are once thorough with the syllabus, definitely you will not face any problem. And cutoff is never 200 or 200. Cutoff is always 95 to 100. Just you need to choose those low hanging fruits. This is what was taught to me by my mentors, and this is what, but my generation, they were not trying to take it seriously. But I am saying you, competition has become so cutthroat. If you lose these low hanging fruits, you are not going to get through. So my concern and my entire focus during this course will not only be to teach optional agriculture for you, rather than how to solve prelims paper also. In the course of discussion, I will tell you practical experience, how did I solve. Once I had scored 144 marks in prelims in UPSC. It was one of the highest marks. It was almost people score 150, 158 also, but I had scored 144. So being an agri graduate and scoring 144 was a huge achievement in itself. So I will tell you how to solve those and how to choose those low hanging fruits, right? So we will discuss it during the course, during our course. Then they had questions about PDS. See, the direct syllabus, before some time I had put it in the prelims also ki PDS. They had asked ki PDS mein, matlab like they had asked question ki in PDS how much amount of grain is given, this much amount of grain is given to pregnant women, this much amount of grain is given to lactating mother. Though it was technical, but if you read the question correctly, you can eliminate and solve the question. Then they had questions on buffer stock, food security, technology missions. Like they had asked, UPSC has got a very knack of asking questions to throw you off guard, asking questions 5-6 years back. National Horticulture Mission, it was launched with huge fanfare by UPA government during 2005-06 time to promote horticultural growth in the country. 2018 UPSC brought that question out of the blues and they asked it how National Horticulture Mission became a success, right? What were the constraints in it, what were the problems with it, and all those things they asked in that year. So you can imagine. So technology missions, we'll discuss the major technology missions like zero budget natural farming, we'll discuss National Horticulture Mission, we will discuss Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, we'll discuss almost everything like on crop insurance schemes, we'll discuss all those things during the course of our preparation. Economics of animal rearing, they will ask you also questions like which animal, like sheep, goat, cow, buffalo, we rear a lot of animals. The questions has not been asked, but I am expecting a question in next 1 or 2 years on animal rearing also, right? Food processing related questions, which I had already said you, है ना? Agriculture sector questions in economics, like in economics also there will be questions based on export policy, like we had new agri export policy, new government missions like PM Kusum. Can somebody of you tell about PM Kusum? PM Kusum is a very innovative idea of our Prime Minister. He wants to utilize the solar energy. For that purpose, for your general studies, you would have learnt about International Solar Alliance, which is a very humongous step by Government of India to promote solar energy throughout the world. So in the same lines, government has promoted PM Kusum. PM Kusum is for solar farming. It is basically intended to promote solar farming. Like you have to harness the energy of sun for water pumping, for pumping water for irrigation and for all other purposes. Right. National Horticulture Mission, what I was discussing, I have put it here also. Right. In personality test, there will be questions related to agrarian crisis, okay, related to rural development, related to agricultural marketing, related to agricultural export policy, agricultural price policy, current developments in agriculture sector. There will be questions on government schemes, which I have already discussed with you, crops grown in your native place and farming methodologies practiced, or if some innovative methods of agriculture are there. So all those questions will be asked. Like there is another favorite area of UPSC which I forgot to mention, GI, geographical indication. UPSC has got a habit of asking GI tagged products. In some year they asked that which of the following is not GI tagged product. They had mentioned 3-4 Chanderi sarees, then Tirupati laddus, and something they have mentioned 3-4 options. In same way, they asked sometime like which of the following is a GI indicated product, geographical indication registered product. So all these things comes handy in personality test, but sometimes it helps you in prelims also, right? Some other benefits of agriculture as a optional subjects. Interesting and scoring subject, quite happening. This subject is quite happening. Every day you will observe it in the newspapers. Those there are technical things also in second paper, but that has to come. Everything you cannot get it. You will not get everything on theoretical part, and that is good also. If you see, our paper is distributed in two parts, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is more of theoretical part. Paper 2 is more a practical part, which is almost a science based, almost you can find it to be a science based optional, but once you read paper 1, you will find it to be a arts type of optional, right. So in that case, paper 1 sometimes the answers are very general. When you write an answer, the answers become very general and it becomes like very vague type of answers. So getting marks from the examiner in those type of paper is really tough. So what comes to your rescue is paper 2, which is a completely fundamental. If you are clear in your fundamentals, you can easily score out of 250, you can score 160, 165 you can score, and that is a very considerably very high marks. And even if you can manage 135, 140 in paper 1, you score almost 305, 306 in entire optional paper, which is a wonderful score, because anything above 300 in an optional is a good score, right. And at times direct questions are asked. So this is one of the biggest benefit of UPSC agriculture, UPSC or OPSC agriculture optional. At times you will find the questions are repeated. They will change the nature of the order of the question and they will ask you. Somewhere they would have asked you about organic farming. Next year they will ask you what are the merits and demerits of organic farming. Some year they will ask you write about drip and sprinkler irrigation. Next year they will ask you what are the advantages and disadvantages of sprinkler irrigation. Because agriculture has been continuing. Some new additions are there, they can add it. But by and large agriculture will not change. It will be same only. Na? So once you are thorough with your concepts, maybe in 1 year or 2 years you can excel in this subject. It will not take much more time than that. This was, I was already mentioned to you, one of the highest success rates in UPSC and OPSC examinations. It has got one of the highest success rates. The data which I will update for your benefit in next coming classes, I will take the latest data from UPSC. They would have released their annual report by this time, I think. Okay. Syllabus is well defined, which can be managed with proper guidance, and time is spared for other general studies paper. I will tell you that this is the most important thing. People keep on learning for their optional round the year for those 500 marks, and they forget these 1000 marks for this GS paper and essay paper. So agriculture is such a optional where you need to spend 6-7 hours during your preparation. Once you have completed the syllabus in entirety, you have written the test series, you have attended the classes, you have discussed with your faculty, you can close the book and you can straight away open after your prelims. You can focus rest of your time for your GS paper preparations. This is what I promise. This is what I have done, and this is what I will make you do. This is my aim. That's why I am here. I will not ask you to waste almost 1 year of you for preparing for optional. I guarantee you that you will be getting 300 marks provided what I say you have to do, because I have sailed through the same boat. I have already sailed through the same boat. I know where you will stop, where you will waste time, and how you will waste time. In this examination, your time is your money. You have invested. Even if you are getting something for free, that doesn't mean it is free. Someone has paid for it, and you are paying it with your time, with your resources, with your career, with everything you are paying. So you have to be very sincere on that part, right? So that's why this is the third point, is the most important point, bearing all those points which I have discussed, ki it will give you time for other general studies paper preparation, because syllabus is well managed, but provided you get a good guidance. Some other day I was discussing with you on online, some of the students of some universities, they were there, I was discussing with them. So I was saying to them, agriculture is such a vast subject where the books have not been written targeting to UPSC. The books have been written for MSc and PhD. You have to extract contents out of that. Imagine the amount of effort you would have to put extracting something from someone's PhD paper or someone's MSc research thesis, which we are doing it for you just because we want you to succeed. You have to succeed. That's why. Right. Next, the most important second component, all this while I have been talking about civil services, but I forgot one of the most important aspect, that is IFOS, that is Indian Forest Service Examinations. There you are bound to choose 2 optionals. Matlab bound what? That is a rule. You have to choose 2 optional subjects. Even if you are preparing for OPSC, you have to choose 2 optional subjects. If student choose botany optional, because I am trying about the maximum possible combinations, because UPSC restricts many combination, OPSC there is no such bar. Like in UPSC, if you have taken forestry as your first optional, you cannot take agriculture as your second optional. If you are an agri graduate and you are confident, that's a different story, you should take agriculture, then you have to choose for a second optional. There agriculture engineering you cannot take forestry. So in that case, botany is the next best choice for an agri graduate, and that is the most best possible combination which every agri graduate or those who are appearing for forest services with an agriculture optional, they generally prefer botany. But there are students like those who are from engineering background, those who switch over their optionals, they read agriculture, they take sometimes geology or some other optional also. But for an agriculture graduate, botany is the next best optional after forestry. Okay. In that case, this is again your time saver, because everyone prepares for civil services. Forest services is just like a complementary product, it comes. There will be very few people, those who prepare exclusively for forest services. Exclusively preparants are very less, hardly 10% also will not be there in the lot. Okay. In that time, again, the second optional, you can imagine, okay, agriculture I have read it for civil services, I can write it in forest services. But what about your second optional? Same is the case with OPSC also. What about your second optional? How much time you need to dedicate? In that case also agriculture again comes handy to you. If you are choosing botany or forestry, for in the case of Odisha, if you are choosing forestry, then also agriculture is going to help you. In case of UPSC, where you have to choose botany or some other optional, in that case if you have chosen botany, 50 to 60% of the syllabus is matching with agriculture. 50 to 60% syllabus matches with agriculture, especially paper 2. The paper 2 of agriculture resembles completely with all the syllabus of botany. So in that case also you will be saving time. Bit technically you have to study for botany because it's a pure science subject, core science subject, but still you can manage time. Even if 50% of your syllabus you are confident about that, imagine the level of boost and energy you will get, ki my 50% syllabus is completed, right? So this was what I was discussing to you. This was about Rishikulia Academy, why to choose the best of faculties. We provide you mentorship. Coaching is available at Bhubaneswar as well as in online mode. Study materials will be there, test series will be there. But I was saying you during the class itself, I will make you write some answers so that I can get a feel ki what I am teaching. If I am teaching something and it is not going there, then there is no use in that. Again, you need not. I want that ki 3 hours or 6 hours which you have spent with me, that should be there with you forever. It should not get vanished just after you go down and take an auto to your college or to your hostel. It should be there for you forever. You should open it only once you have seen your name in the list of prelims qualified, then you should open that paper, your answer book, you keep on writing what you have written, what you have done, and go and write your mains. That is my promise, that what I have to do to you people. Because I will tell you a personal experience. During my agriculture, like I was discussing to you, agriculture was a second choice and all those things. I landed up in Coimbatore. And it's a complete cultural shock, someone coming from Bihar and going to Coimbatore, where food habit is different, language is different, everything is different. I mastered the language in 6-7 months. I learned the Tamil language, I learned it, and once I learned it, my only habit was that bachpana of just you have graduated, you are young, you are free. So I used to also roam around, bunk classes and all. But what I made a promise to myself, कि ठीक है मैं घूमूंगा, मूवी देखूंगा, ये करूंगा, वो करूंगा, आई विल डू एवरीथिंग पॉसिबल, बट इन दोज 2 hours वी हैड यू यूज टू हैव 2 hours lecture, 4 lectures in a day, 8 मतलब 8 hours we had to study, almost 6 hours to 8 hours in our classroom. I did not used to even blink my eyes, just I used to see to my professor, I used to listen to him what he is saying. Even if I was feeling sleepy, but still I was trying to grasp at least 50%. And you know that has made all the difference. In classroom, if you are attentive, even up to your 70-80% of your capacity, that will make all the difference. Notes, test series, all these things comes handy only when you are attentive in classroom. You are interactive with your faculty, when you have learnt with him, when you have understood him, when you have understood, when you have got the concept, you can apply it in any ways. Once you are clear with your concept, you can write in any possible way. This is what UPSC asks from you. Asks you to write about something in 150 words. Can you imagine writing about India-Israel relation in 150 words, where 150 books can be written on that? They are asking you to write 150 words on that. So imagine the level of knowledge and the level of concentration and the level of wisdom you have to make it such brevity. The answer should be such brevity, such brief, that examiner should give you 7, at least 7 out of 10. So this is what I will ensure you guys ki you should be attentive in your class, you should learn. Once you have done this, there is no need to open the agriculture. Once my course is over in 3 months or 3.5 months, whatever I will take the class, once it is over, you need not. Just simply open your examination, what I said you, see your name in the list and open the paper and just read it once. That also daily 2 hours during the period between prelims to mains, daily 2 hours, nothing more than that. I assure you that you will get 280, 290 plus, and definitely you will get. Agriculture is a good subject, provided you give attention in the class. No need to go back to home and read. Just sometimes, once in a blue moon, just go through your notes, revise your notes, that will be enough, right? This will be all delivered, so deliverables, that over 200 hours of classroom teaching will be what I will be delivering to you. It will be approximately 250 hours, it will go into 250 hours, because I like more of interaction, because one-way communication is never good. Like if I keep on communicating, I don't know whether the balls are going where I am throwing it. It is going in dark or it is going to somewhere. So there will be the classes. I am not worried about timings, I am more worried about what you should learn and how you should learn and how much you learn. Right, men's answer writing practice with evaluation and feedbacks at completion of every unit of syllabus. Then very rarely high quality test series are provided to students, but we would provide you the same. Agriculture optional, you will find very less test series are there, but I have put all my best efforts and I have prepared the best of the questions. Once you do it, once you write it in the environment of our classroom, or even at your home, if you write it with the complete environment of the examination, you will definitely get a feel of the UPSC examination or OPSC examination. Comprehensive guidance would be provided to you. I would be available on online also, because I am not based out of Bhubaneswar, but I am available 24/7 in this time. I will be available anytime you need. Just you can talk to our coordinators, they will arrange a time for us, and whenever you need, I can sit for 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, and we can continuously discuss and we can solve your problems. Well researched and easy to understand study materials. This is again a biggest challenge of agriculture. What I told you some 15 minutes back, ki all those books have been written for MSc and PhD people. It has not been written considering the UPSC examinations. So all these study materials which you will get is 24 karat gold, which I have prepared myself, and those study materials have passed because they have got one of the highest scores in UPSC. Who more can endorse it, right? And I will provide it to you. That also again for the benefit of saving time for you. Rather, I don't like to give study materials because I want students to take whatever teacher is saying in classrooms, but still for the benefit of many students, those who are slow at writing and other things, I would provide the study materials also, which will be very crisp, very easy to understand. Not in more than 300 to 400 pages I will complete one paper, and almost 600-700 pages you will complete the entire both the papers, which will have crisp, concise and detailed information of what are the subjects or what are the topics mentioned in UPSC, right? Personalized interaction with faculty at institute. I will be available at institutes on weekends and holidays, and as per the discussion with your coordinators, I will be available, as well as online medium. I am just a phone call away or a WhatsApp or Zoom call away. So this was what I had thought to discuss with you. Just an introduction ki why you should choose agriculture and what is the importance of agriculture. So this was it. I will be expecting some questions from you if you are interested, if you have any doubt, if you have any problem or any queries related to career, related to anything. We will see कि I have designed, whenever you find the syllabus of any paper, you just need to disintegrate it. You have to make it small to make it a micro level of planning. This is what I have been doing, and I will try to just, if it is possible, you can see here also. See, like see, agriculture paper 1 syllabus, if you see, I have broken it down entire unit wise into point wise syllabus, like ecology and its relevance to man, natural resources, their sustainable management and conservation. This is completely from ecology part. Physical, social environment as factors of crop distribution and production. At times you will find questions directly from this, ki how physical environment is affecting the crop distribution throughout the country, right? Then agroecology. What do you mean by agroecology? At times the question has been asked right directly. Cropping pattern. What is the cropping pattern of the area, like I was discussing to you previously some time back. Then environmental pollution, associated hazards to crop, animals and humans, climate change, international conventions and global initiatives, greenhouse effect and global warming, remote sensing and geographic information system, cropping patterns in different agroclimatic zones of the country. So you can see this entire paper 1, you can see first unit is based on environment and ecology combined, coupled with agriculture. Here you will find questions based on ecology plus somehow it will be linked to agriculture. Next, once we go, you will find agronomy portion, that is cropping patterns in different agroclimatic zones of the country. Here again you will find 2 questions. What do you mean by cropping pattern? What are cropping patterns? And how many different types of agroclimatic zones are there in the country? Who has classified them? What are agroecological zones? So you will find questions like that also. Then next, impact of high yielding and short duration variety on shift in cropping patterns. So this is again a very important topic, high yielding varieties which led to our green revolution. Then short duration varieties. What is the importance of short duration variety? Can anyone say me? Short duration variety. What is the importance of short duration varieties? Short duration varieties, if you grow a rice in the field for 120 days and you grow a rice in the field for 75 days, imagine almost you will be reducing the period by 45 days. एक ही खेत में, in one field you are growing rice for 120 days, the land is occupied, but in 75 or 80 days if you have harvested the rice, the paddy crop, your field is free for 40 days. In those 40 days you can grow some vegetables or you can grow some fast catch crops. So imagine getting a single crop from this much big piece of land, now you are able to get 2 crops. So that was the purpose of making short duration varieties. Okay. Next, organic and precision farming. Precision farming is the order of the day. Precision farming has picked up like anything. Next, package and practices. This is one of the most toughest part to remember. Package of practices for production of important cereal, pulses, oil seed, fiber, sugar, and every year almost 20 to 25 marks questions are based on this package of practices. But here again I will say you, if you remember the sequence, then you don't have any problem. You can easily write about that question. For example, in rice, if we take about the rice crop, if they ask you question like package of practices of rice, so what you need to do? Just need to begin from nursery preparation, land preparation, what type of tillage you will do, what are the operations you will do, like puddling you will be doing, or you will be going for SRI method, or will you going for direct seeded method, or will you going for transplanted method. So once you know this, then what will be the seed rate? Next, what is the next important thing? How much irrigation to give? Next, how much fertilizer to give? What are the doses of fertilizer? Next, what are the crops and what are the pests and diseases which will attack to this crop? Next, what are the extra care we need to take, like removal of weeds or removal of off types, or seeing whether the crops are getting lost. Next, what you have to see? When it will be having maturity. Next, you have to see harvesting. Next, where to store, when to market. Entire chain. Simple. It is as simple as it is. You should know step by step. The picture should come in your mind. पहले लैंड प्रिपेयर करेंगे, फिर सीड डालेंगे, फिर क्रॉप उगाएंगे, फिर फर्टिलाइजर डालेंगे, फिर पेस्टिसाइड डालेंगे, फिर हार्वेस्टिंग करेंगे. बीच में और भी कुछ चेक कर लेंगे, जो कोई वीड्स के लिए या कोई डिजीजेस वगैरह के लिए चेक कर लेंगे. तो फॉर एवरी क्रॉप देयर इज सम set of operations which is common, and there are some set of operations which are unique. Like in rice you need to do puddling, like in topping you have to do in some crops, you have to do earthing up in some crops, you have to give propping in crops like banana and all, you have to do tying in sugarcane. So there are some special operations. If you remember and this general, combine them, your answer is ready. 20-25 marks you will fetch very easily, right? Next, an important part is there related to forestry and agroforestry, where you will find questions on social forestry, agroforestry, natural forest, propagation of forest plants, forest products, value addition, conservation of forest flora and fauna. So this second unit is again an important part, forestry, agroforestry. Every year there will be questions approximately of 20 to 30 marks from this area. Simple. What are the different agroforestry models? What are the benefits of growing agroforestry? What are the different advantages of social forestry? What are the different types of non-conventional forestry? What is the difference between social forestry and extension forestry? So questions will be revolving around these basic themes only. On these 3-4 points which you are seeing, there will be around 20 to 25 marks question. Next important part is weed science. Again you will get a question of around 20 to 25 marks from weed science. In weed science, they will talk about weeds, their characteristics, like they will ask you write about short-lived weeds, broad-lived weeds. They will ask you about monocot weeds, dicot weeds, though they don't ask so much technically in civil services, but in forest services at times they ask questions much more technically. Then they will ask you integrated weed management, they will ask you physical control of weeds, they will ask you chemical control of weeds. So like that questions also they will ask you. Next, one of the most important most important part in paper 1 of agriculture, which will fetch you approximately 50 to 60 marks, is soil science. Soil science, they will ask you questions beginning from soil formation, from where soil has been formed, how soil has been formed, what is the process of weathering, what are the factors of formation of soil, the questions will be ranging from those areas. Next, they will be asking you about soil fertility. What is the difference between soil fertility, soil productivity, what is soil testing? Like sometimes back I was talking to you on soil health card and other things. In those sequence, what is soil testing, what is the importance of soil testing? Then one more important area is problem soils, like saline soils, sodic soils, alkaline soils. They will ask you every year. There have been questions based on problem soils. Okay. Next important area is soil science. Once we are done, next area will be irrigation. There they will ask you questions on what are the methods of irrigation, what are the traditional method, what are the modern method, what is drip irrigation, what is sprinkler irrigation, what are the difference between the two, what are the advantages and disadvantages between them. Next area is dryland agriculture. There they will, every year you will have questions on dryland agriculture also. What is dryland agriculture, what are its problems? This is a very favorite question of UPSC. Once you are thorough with these points, definitely you can write very nicely. What is dryland agriculture? What are the problems and how to overcome those problems in dryland agriculture? Sorry. Next, technology for, like I was saying you, technology for stabilizing agriculture production in rain-fed areas or dryland areas. I had already talked to you about drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, what problem of waterlogged soil, quality of irrigation water. All this we will be studying under irrigation unit. Next important unit is agricultural economics and farm management. There will be questions every year. Almost it fetches you around 70 to 80 marks. Questions are there from economics area, like what is farm management, what is scope of farm management, what is farm planning, what is farm budgeting, all those questions, MSP, price fluctuations, insurance, what are the different types of insurance schemes launched by government, what are the new insurance policies, which one is the latest and most updated policy. Okay. Next is crop insurance, agriculture. Next will be, the questions will be from agricultural extension. That is another one important area, agricultural extension. They are simple questions. What is agriculture extension? How does it differ from formal education? There will be question. Then what are the different methods of agricultural extension? What are group contact method? What is personal contact method? All those questions they will ask you. Then training programs based on how to train agricultural extension workers, how to train farmers. There will be questions on that. There will be questions on Krishi Vigyan Kendra. It's a very famous question, KVK. When was KVK established? What is its mandate? What is its role? How does it help in agriculture technology dissemination? How does it help in rural development? So in a nutshell, if you see paper 1, you will find ecology is one portion, agronomy is second portion, irrigation is third portion, irrigation combined with dryland, I will say it's a third portion, fourth portion is your soil science, fifth is your agricultural economics, and sixth is your agricultural extension. 6 units, we will be covering it in almost 1.5 months, we will finish it, considering 6 hours of lectures on one day. That will be on weekends. Most probably the classes will be on weekends, so that you will be also having convenient to attend those classes. So 6 hours, 12 hours, in 1.5 months we will be completing paper 1, this 6 units. And once we are completed this, I will be dictating you, you will be noting down in the classes, plus I will provide you the class study materials also. Next is the second paper, agriculture paper 2. There cell biology is a very important part, where they will ask you simply a question will be like draw a cell structure and write about cell cycle. Then again they will ask you about genetic material, laws of heredity, chromosome structure, chromosomal aberrations. These are all coming under cell biology. And if you would have studied in your class 12th biology, these all things you would have studied: chromosome structure, chromosomal aberrations, linkage, crossing over, significance. All these things will fetch you approximately 30 to 35 marks. Every year there are questions based on cell structure, cell cycle, on chromosome structure, chromosomal aberrations, and all those areas. Next important part is this polyploidy, euploidy and aneuploidy. Every year you will find questions, what is significance of polyploidy, how to induce polyploidy, what is euploids, what is aneuploids, they will ask you. Then again mutation. Mutation is another important area, mutation breeding and mutation. Next, cytoplasmic inheritance, sex linked inheritance, sex influenced inheritance, sex limited characters. All those things, though it may sound to you very difficult, but once we learn it in the class, it will be very easy. You can remember it and you can write whenever you are asked to do. Next, history of plant breeding, methods of plant breeding. There will be like methods like molecular markers, pure line selection, recurrent selection, pedigree selection, mass selection, all those things. Then breeding for disease resistance, breeding for pest resistance. Questions will be there. These are the core areas of plant breeding. Here the questions will be around 30 to 40, 50 marks also, sometimes it goes. Sometimes they will ask you questions from biotechnology also, tissue culture, in vitro synthesis, DNA fingerprinting, seed registration, all those areas. Okay. So one area is cell biology, second area is plant breeding and genetics combinedly, third area is your seed technology, where they will ask you questions on classes of seed like nucleus breeder, foundation certified seed. Then they will ask you about marketing of seeds, which are the institutions engaged in marketing of seeds, which are the new varieties developed, how a variety is developed, how a variety is released. Just all these things are there, but we need to study it in a systematic manner. Okay. Next important part after seed technology is your crop physiology. This again becomes little bit tough for the students because students find it to be much more scientific. But if you read it correctly with the help of diagrams and flow charts, you can remember it very easily. There will be questions based on C3, C4 and CAM mechanism, based on carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism. The questions are based on plant physiology, which you would have studied in botany in class 11. Just it's an extension of that. The focus will be from plant to crop. There you used to read about a peepal tree or a banyan tree. Here you will read about a rice crop or a wheat crop. The physiology is same but shifted to an agricultural crop, right. Next important area is pathology and entomology combinedly. So students get feared when they hear about entomology and pathology, but there is nothing to fear in UPSC. Questions of pathology and entomology combinedly, they will fetch you around 30 to 40 marks. And there is also a unique pattern in what to read, how much to read and from where to read. This is where I will guide you. You need not waste time in reading all those thick books of pathology and entomology entire night. So this is the next important area. Next area is horticulture. In that horticulture you will find floriculture, you will find olericulture, you will find floriculture, olericulture, pomology, you will find almost all the things, protected cultivation and all those areas. So we will see about those also. Medicinal plants, aromatic plants, though questions have been very limited from these areas, but we will not leave any stone unturned, right. Last part is miscellaneous. I consider it to be a miscellaneous topic where questions will be asked from food policies, food production and consumption trend in the country. This part students find it to be unimportant, not so important, and they leave it. But this area plays a very critical role in scoring you marks, because there will be questions of approximately 30 to 40 marks from this area. From here they will ask you question about how PDS system works, what is TPDS, what the steps have been taken by government to elevate or to eliminate hunger from our country. So there you have to write about PDS, TPDS, Antyodaya Anna Yojana, Garib Kalyan Yojana and all those things. Whatever things have been in news you have to write. Here the questions will be about below poverty line, how we estimate that, how much people are there under poverty line, how to uplift them. Then again questions will be there from areas like protein energy malnutrition, protein calorie malnutrition, micronutrient deficiency. So these questions have been asked repeatedly. Sometimes they ask question about classify the vitamins. In 1 year they had asked in agriculture optional, you have to classify vitamins and giving the source of each. Vitamins, if you see, there are two types, water soluble, fat soluble. ADEK, vitamin BC. Fat soluble is ADEK, water soluble is BC. So just you need to read, just you need to simply read. If you have read it, there is no point in missing out those questions. Okay. There will be questions related to national dietary guidelines and food consumption pattern, food based dietary approaches to eliminate hunger. So this was a just an outline of the syllabus which I wanted to introduce to you, though you would have seen it, but I have broken down it into point wise. So during the course of your preparation, you can keep on, once your classes are over, you can keep on checking those boxes. Acha, sir has completed this, sir has completed this, sir has completed this. So once you see the path from Bhubaneswar to Delhi is 1600 kilometers, but if you check on the milestones, 100 kilometer over, okay, 1500 to go, next 300 kilometer over, 1300 kilometers to go, it gives you confidence and it gives you boost. So that's why I have broken down this syllabus which was in paragraph form into a single line. Again for your convenience, again I will break it down to unit wise, point wise syllabus, so that we can microanalyze the topics and we can read it nicely and in a comprehensive manner. So if anyone has anything to ask, you can ask to me, or we will begin the classes. Very shortly we will be beginning our classes. I will be beginning with paper 1 first and followed by paper 2. In paper 1 we will be beginning most probably with I will try to begin it with agroecology areas, but I am thinking to put less time on that because you would have studied already in your GS paper 3 and your for prelims preparation. So I would try to focus more on irrigation, dry land, soil sciences, all those areas, because questions comes from that area and those are a little bit of problematic area for the students also. So with this I will be concluding and hope to meet you guys soon. Thank you.